Hey YouTube, my name is Devin and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on The Martian by Andy Weir. I first heard about this book on Bookable's channel, Heather's channel. She did a review on this book and I thought it sounded really interesting, so I decided to order it and I read it and now I'm going to tell you what I thought. First things first, this cover is beautiful. I'm just a sucker for covers in general, like if it's a pretty cover. This cover is so artsy and like this, you could display this in your bookshelf and it would look like a work of art. It's so beautiful. Also, the thing that caught my attention about this book is this first little two sentences on the synopsis on the back. It says, 6 days ago, astronaut Mark Watney became one of the first people to walk on Mars. Now he's sure he'll be the first person to die there. If you're not intrigued by that, I don't know what to tell you. This book had me hooked the entire time I was reading it. I'm not really even that into sci-fi, and this is full of science-y, mathematical calculations and everything, but I adored this book. I loved it so much. So if you don't know what this book is about, it is about astronaut Mark Watney. And Mark Watney was a member of the Ares 3 mission to Mars. Mark actually gets left behind. During a catastrophic dust storm, he is hit with shrapnel and it impales him, and his team thinks that he is dead, so they are forced to evacuate the planet and they accidentally leave him behind. So this book is all about Mark surviving alone on Mars and trying to find a way to contact NASA and tell them that he is still alive, and he has to make food, he has to keep his shelter in good condition because the shelter was only meant to last 30 days, and he has to find a way to make water. Now, obviously, there is a lot of science involved in this. There is a lot of scientific jargon and calculations and numbers, but you don't need to understand all the scientific detail to get a lot out of this book. I didn't understand half of the scientific stuff that he was talking about, but I still just would read through that part even if I didn't understand it. Just keep going through it. It's not crucial to enjoy this book to understand all the scientific details. This book flips between Mark Watney's journal entries and what is going on back home on Earth with NASA, and you also get to see a little bit of what's going on with the Ares 3 team on their way back from Mars to Earth. You also get to see a little bit of communication between the Ares 3 team and Mark, and that was one of my favorite parts of the book because Mark and the Ares 3 team, just among themselves, they have such great chemistry and their banter is just hilarious to read, and they all have really distinct personalities and they're not like perfect people, you know, like this perfect character, this, you know, they're flawed, and that makes them so much more interesting to read about because they seem like real people. This book just blew me away. The amount of research that Andy Weir, the author, must have done to be able to write a book like this is incredible. And when I was done reading it, I actually messaged him on Facebook and just told him how much I enjoyed his book, and he messaged me back and thanked me, and I was like, fangirling? Now, one thing that you hear all the time regarding this book is potatoes, because Mark Watney is a botanist, and the food that he tries to grow on Mars is potatoes. One of my favorite things about this book is Mark Watney's personality and how sarcastic and witty he is, and he has this dark humor about him that he just accepts things as they come to him, but also just has this humor about him, and how he responds to things is so important, I think, to keeping him mentally sane while he is alone on the planet. Mark also has a lot of knowledge about NASA and about the future plans of NASA as far as the Ares missions go. And the Ares missions are the manned missions to Mars. And so he's able to kind of use that to make this like plan to survive, and he knows where he needs to be on Mars because he knows when NASA is coming, and he's planning, you know, if I can't contact them, then I know that they'll be here at this day, and it's just all about him surviving until he's able to be rescued. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars because it is just perfect. It was an intriguing story, it had amazing characters, and I would recommend this book to everyone. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the book versus the movie. I went and saw this movie with my mom and I was a little bit apprehensive about seeing it because I'm always a little bit nervous when I really like a book and then they come out with a movie because I don't want them to get it wrong. I want them to portray everything exactly how I thought about it and how I pictured it in my mind. And I don't want them to taint my love for this story. And with The Martian, I was absolutely pleasantly surprised. This was a phenomenal book-to-movie adaptation. It was so accurate to the book, and everything was just pretty much exactly how it happened in the book. There were a couple of things that were different, but they weren't, like, crucial things. You know, it didn't change the feel of the story. Also, the actors they chose for the movie were perfect, in my opinion. Matt Damon made a flawless Mark Watney. He got his sarcasm and his dark humor down to a T, and all of the other characters on the Ares team and Annie and all the people at NASA, they were just exactly the kind of people that I pictured them to be, and they acted like the characters acted in the book, and it was just so accurate to the book, and I was so excited about that, and I really hope Andy Weir liked this film. I'm sure he did. It was an amazing, amazing movie. If the movie's still out at the time that this is posted, I highly, highly recommend seeing it or buying it when it comes out on DVD because it is so good and you will definitely enjoy it if you like sci-fi. Okay, if you have not read the book or seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, I would stop watching now because I'm going to be getting into some spoilers and I don't want to ruin anything for you. So, if you have not seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, click away now. The first part that was different between the book and the movie that I was a little bit disappointed about was that they didn't include the part where Mark's rover and trailer tip when he is on his way to the Ares 4 site. This wasn't really a crucial part of the story. I was just interested in seeing how they would do it in the movie, and then I was just a little bit disappointed when they just left it out altogether. But like I said, it wasn't really that big of a part, but they kind of went from the beginning of him leaving Ares 3 and going to Ares 4, and then just like right to when he got to Ares 4. They kind of left out that big middle part, which I understand because if they wouldn't have, then this movie would have been like 4 hours long. The second part that was different between the book and the movie, and I'm not saying that these are bad things, I'm just pointing them out because they're things that I noticed. The second thing was Commander Lewis in the end and how she was the one who went out and rescued Mark. That did not happen in the book. It was Beck who was supposed to go out and rescue Mark. He was the one who did, and Mark did not get out of his seat and unbuckle when he was in the MAV in the book because Commander Lewis would not allow it. But he did unbuckle in the MAV on his way to Hermes, and he also poked the hole in his suit and was Iron Man to try to get over to Hermes, but Commander Lewis in the book would not allow that either. Those things were added for drama and suspense, and those are important when you're making a movie. So I completely understand why they added those into the movie, and I think that in the movie they worked. If you would be interested in seeing some more of my videos and you're not already, then please subscribe. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye guys!